Thank you for joining me today. Instead of, you know, go to the blockchain guy in the big hall. So thank you. Um, my name is Giang. I'm work as a Chief Operating Officer at Nexogen. I'm Vietnamese. Been living here 26 years. Absolutely love the country. Best place in the world, and piling off for the win. Okay. Okay, so what are we gonna talk about today? Oh, actually, I'm gonna use this. We're gonna talk about ourselves a little bit and our story. That's me right there, that guy. And that's our team. I'm very proud of them. We're the 25 people of software engineers, mathematicians, and business consultants. And we here to have a single mission. And that mission is to redefine the world's expectations regarding cost, revenue, and scalability with our Nexogen algorithmic business platform. And you're going to hear that a lot in today's presentation. So this is the title, Turning Data into Actions, and simple ideas into reality, and it's just going to be a case study. And so I was kind of sitting at home in my chair writing these presentations, and just a couple things wrong with this title. I actually didn't like it. First, it's kind of didn't really tell you anything. Second, I felt like it's quite cheap marketing. So I tried to come up with something that's a little bit better. I didn't want to just stand here and tell you about, hey, what we do is great. It's the future. It's a movement. Come join us. Yada yada yada. So I kind of trying to tell you something that has a meaning. That's something that would either reinforce what you already know, or something that will inspire you to think about it with an open mind. And for that, I too needed inspirations. So I turned to my sort of inspirations. It's a book. It's one of those books that would help me to convey my point today. But first, why did I need inspiration? Of course, by writing this, these are the questions that kind of come up to me, and I had to try to address these. Probably you're gonna ask this question yourself, and it's very good questions. You're gonna ask, "Yay, your story is great. Why do I care? What do you do at a big data conference? You a COO, what do you know about tech?" Well, that's true. I don't know much about tech. I'm an economist and a philosopher, so if you want to talk to me after this, then yeah, those are the topics. But with the help of this book, I think I used the inspiration, the stories, the philosophy that Napoleon Hill wrote in his book that helped me to draw the conclusion and tell the story today. And one of the things that I love about this book is it really stood the test of time. It was written in 37, sorry. And 81 years ago, 81 years is a lifetime in the tech industry. It's not a lot of time in philosophy. So this is how, I kind of use this as a source of inspiration. So first thing I did is to come up with a new title. Actually, quite impressed you guys showed up to the old titles, so I'm happy for that. But I wanted to tell you something, that has my own thought in it. So this is the new title. This is something I want to talk about with you today. It's the secret ingredient of a successful business, or something that I think is a secret ingredient to a successful business, and a philosophy that stood the test of time. And of course, I'm still going to use the Waberer case study to kind of push the narrative forward. So you heard the term algorithmic business before. I don't know how many of you have heard this. This is actually not something we came up with, but it is something that we believe in, and it is something that what we do. And according to one of the biggest advisory firm in the world, Gartner, algorithmic business is the industrialized use of complex mathematical algorithm, pivotal to driving improved business decisions, process automation for competitive differentiation. So in simple terms, you solve stuff with math that's gonna enable you to do things automatically or help you making better decisions. And for that, you're gonna be better than your competitors. Basically, that's what this is all about. And this is the time where I would like to tell you a little bit about our story, how we come up to this stage, what did we do, how it all began. So it began with an idea, of course, like everything else. Once upon a time, one of our founders, during his study in this university, he was kind of working with math and algorithms, and he came up with this idea of how we can solve complex business problems using math. And he was thinking about the transportation industry, first and foremost, because he thinks in those complex problems, the type of problems that we are dealing with in day-to-day in the transportation industry is something that could be a very good fit for the type of validation that he needed for his idea. He really believed that with this, money could be made. Problems could be solved, value could be delivered, money could be made. And little did he know, at around the same time, there's a small Hungarian transportation logistics company called Waberer, and they was having a management meeting, so to say. They were, the top managers were there, the CEO were there, and the CEO basically laid down a plan for his senior directors. He was like, okay, guys, these are the numbers we need to hit for the next fiscal years, next years. And then after the meeting, after he left, all the guys basically was contemplating how to solve the problem. They knew that the numbers or the ambition that the CEO has was basically meaning that they have to grow the company. They're gonna have to buy more vehicle to transport more goods. And that kind of served as a problem for them because there's a lot of KPIs that you kind of monitoring when you working in the transportation logistics industry. And one of them is utilizations. What is utilization? Imagine utilization is something that makes you money. If you transfer stuff from A to B, the time that you transfer is the time you're making money. And the time that you don't transfer, you're making cost. And of course, you want the utilizations is to be as high as possible, right? So that's the idea. But then, how are they gonna do that? This is where we gonna meet with the assignment problems of Waberer. So they have roughly 1,500 vehicles that's scattered across Europe, in every country. And they roughly were receiving 7,000 orders a week. And why is this not working? Right. Okay. And in the pipeline, in the operations, there was a step called planning. Planning is basically a bunch of very smart people sitting in the room figuring out, okay, I have a bunch of vehicles running around, orders are coming in. How can I pair them together in the sense to take into account costs, to take account time, and to take into account distance to be the most optimal for the operation of my fleet? And they were kind of struggling with this. They had a team called the planners. There was 20 people working into this team. And the first thing they did was they had to make a big compromise. They couldn't really do this for the whole Europe. They had to divide it up into sub-regions. So they have to break the problems down into smaller problems, right? And after that, it still took quite a while. It actually took a day for them to do this kind of matching up. And because of that, of course, change management was non-existent. Any order changes, anything happens, a truck breaks down, it's all improvising, right? So from that point on, it's chaos. It's something that we just do it in a ad hoc fashion. And of course, utilization was unsatisfactory because this guy was busting their asses, for the lack of a better term, and the numbers were not improving, right? So they couldn't really buy more. If they want to buy more trucks, it would just extrapolate the problem. So it's the problem within the problem. So what happened next? Well, what happened next is what I call we got lucky. And lucky in the sense of, Seneca said, it's luck when preparation meets opportunity. So little thing about Waberer, because you don't know about them, they are a public company traded in the Budapest Stock Exchange. They are a #1 own fleet players in Europe and FTL, so they have the biggest truck fleet size. They have the industry-leading utilization rate of 92. This is the best in the transportation industry, and their growth rate is around 17% a year. This is 2017 data. So they kind of provide us with the opportunity, and we will prepare for it. So that's how we got to know them, we got to talk to them, we got the chance to meet them. And so we sit down, workshop, find out this is the problem, and after a couple of rounds, they give us a go-ahead. And so after the solver has been written and the testing has been done, and we have integrated our solution into the ecosystem or pipelines, this is what happened. So, of course, since the planning was fast, it's only take 1 or 2 minutes, we actually achieved global optimum, meaning you don't really need the 20 people. From nowadays, you only need 4. Actually, it's just a couple guys pressing a button, and the planning comes out. We solved the biggest hurdle, which is the growing of the fleet size, because the planning was fast. Now they can buy as much truck as they want to. So they grow from roughly 1,500 trucks now to over 4,000, which makes them the biggest fleet, self-owned fleet in Europe. And of course, this means efficiency goes up, 10 million a year saving in costs, and now they're very proud of this. If you're going to read their stock exchange materials, you're going to have these figures in almost every presentation. So that's what happened to them. And of course, they were very, very satisfied with this result. This is something that really, really transformed how they operated. So what happened then? Well, there was like, okay, guys, you solved one problem. It's great. Now we have bottlenecks elsewhere. So for the last half a decade, we were working with them to automate or algorithmicize, if that's even a word, other part of the process. So this might not tell you much, but the problems behind A is basically what we call itinerary automation. Once you've done the matching, you still have to figure it out how to execute. And execution is not something that is simple, especially when you're talking about 4,000 trucks. There's actually 130 operators working with these executions. You have 40, 50-page regulations. You have all the drivers. And you have to figure out, when to fuel, when the driver has to rest, what is the regulatory that you must uphold. So there's a lot of parameters you need to take into account. So this is something that they has been doing manually, and now it's automatic. We also do security detection and alerts. Of course, most of the goods that these guys are transferring are, not Kinder eggs or stuff. It's more valuable stuff. So you need to take security into account. And now we also branch out to support sales activities as well, with stuff like cost prediction and route planning for the pricing. So this is how this is what we call the algorithm business transformation. This is a little bit more than just integrating stuff into a company. They actually had to work around and change the pipeline, change the whole process and the mindset to be able to use this kind of tool. And so what happened with other industries? Of course, the story I've told happened in the transportation logistic industry, but we have been working with other business problems as well. Actually, little did I know before I started working with a company is that behind most business problems, the mathematical problem is very, very similar. So if you talk to a mathematician, he's going to be able to break it down to you. He's going to say, hey, it's a space search problem or whatever fancy word that he's been using. So we have been able to work with companies in variety of different industries, from utility to Yoji. I think Yoji is a little bit unknown. They are in Southeast Asia, but they're doing a share economy and end-to-end transportation suite, so to say. Teva is well known, and we're working with pharmaceutical industry as well and mining as well. BHP Billiton is one of the largest coal mine owners in the world. So how does this work? Well, it works with having a platform that's flexible enough to do this. These are some of the tools that we use in our platform. I'm not the best tech guy to talk about this stuff. I actually steal this slide from our head of development. He knows a lot more about this. But the philosophy behind this, I can share with you, is what he told me. So the idea, you can imagine our platform is something that has standard services. Standard services such as authentication, logging, monitoring, service discovery, orchestrations, high availability, and so on and so forth, database. And so this is all up in the cloud, right? This is responsible for scaling as well. Horizontally, meaning to have more machines, or vertically, meaning to have stronger machines, with more cores, more RAM. And the idea behind it is once our algorithmic team can use this platform, they can write different solver for different type of problems. So whenever we meet another type of problem, we just write a solver and change it, and that's how easy it can work. We have a standard API that's looking out from a cloud, so integration it's not as simple as that, but it's quite simple compared to the complexity of the problem, of course. Okay, so that's what we have been doing. This is something that we firmly believe in. I would love to call it a movement, but this is actually my first presentation about it, so I'm probably going to have to do a couple hundred more to make it a movement. But since this is a big data conference, I actually was contemplating with the question of, okay, so how do we connect, relate to big data? What are we doing here? So I believe data is a synonym of knowledge. And because of that, I think a lot of people have the right to believe that knowledge is power. And if data is synonym of knowledge, then I think their relationship can be very similar to the relationship of knowledge and decision, right? Because you have a lot of knowledge, then you can make good decisions. But you cannot make good decisions without good knowledge. Or knowledge that won't enable you to make good decisions have no use at all. So in this sense, when we talk about data is knowledge, we believe that data is a great thing, but we believe that data or knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power when you organize it, you do something with it, to serve a very specific goal. And our goal, of course, in that story was to solve the planning, to solve the assignment, to solve the itinerary, to solve other very specific business problems, right? So in this sense, the big data community I believe, is doing an indispensable job for the world. I think the big data community, is serving the world. We're solving the problem with storage. We're solving the problem with analytic. We're solving the problem with just serving the data itself. And without data, companies like us, algorithmic companies, won't be able to succeed. We need those. We don't work without the right data. And this is why I think I do have the liberty today to stand in here up on the stage and tell you this is why we believe we're part of the big data universe as well. But, whoops, I just pressed the wrong button there. Back to the title. You probably want to know what the secret is. Hopefully. So, having said all of that, there are some questions I think I can answer with absolute certainty, right? Answer is that questions like, do I believe that this is the future? Do I believe this is a game changer because it can turn data into action? I do. Yes, I think algorithmic business is a game changer. Do I believe this will yield directly into competitive advantage? Yes, I think we did that with our clients. Is this the next logical steps in every company's path of evolution? Absolutely. I think the case of Waberer has very, very much demonstrate that this is something that if you can evolve into, you will become eventually market leaders. But is this the secret of a successful business? Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think this is a secret. I think the secret is something much more simple. I think the secret is something that really stood the test of time. So the key of the Waberer success story is not really that they use algorithmic business. You know, it's not their evolved, it's not just their evolution, but it's all started with the desire that they have to have this kind of company. They were the one who imagined a company that can work around algorithms, that use algorithm as a tool. And it's all started with a spark in the head of their leaders. And algorithmic business is a very powerful tool. I think I tried to convey that to you, but comparing with the right leadership, that's where the magic happens. I think that is the thing that has the transformative effect on a company. You gotta have the right leadership. So the key to a successful business, I think, has always been, people that in leadership positions, people that can motivate others to work in perfect harmony, people who can integrate a system like this and convey to their colleagues, hey guys, this is something that we need to use. People like Napoleon Hill, who wrote this book. It took 20 years of his life to write this book. People like Andrew Carnegie, who is one of the richest person in America in the 19th century. Or Asa Candler, who is the founder of Coca-Cola. Or just to name a few from today's world, Warren Buffett, or Elon Musk. You must love the guy. So it always has been us. And if there are leaders sitting among you out there right now, I hope this presentation was for you. I believe you are the key. You are the future to a successful business. We, Nexogen, we only want to serve as a tool and to aid you in your journey to success. So, thank you for your time today. That was all what I wanted to say. And before I go out, I would like to leave you with one of my favorite quotes from Grace Hopper. You manage things and you lead people. Thank you for your time.